we visit the city that started this whole empty nest adventure.
And then we enter country 11, 12.
Plus, coastal caves and sandy sculptures.
And did you know that Portugal has its own mother road?
Two empty nesters and one brave dog. We're Kasey, Rodney, and Salsa. Currently, we're traveling through Europe, navigating the Shingen Shuffle in our motorhome, Holland. We are sharing real travel life highs and the happy detours along the way. Please hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, make sure you bookmark our webpage, and follow us on Facebook at Empty Nest Adventures TV. All right, so we're starting out this edition of Empty Nest Adventures
TV.
Kind of doing a side trip.
Yes.
It's kind of weird that it turned out this way because we are actually heading toward the city that basically started this entire
The start
European
of the whole thing, where it all
empty nest
began.
adventure. Yep. And you want to tell them what the name of the town was?
It's Rota, Spain. R-O-T-A, Rota, Spain. And it is home to a U.S. naval base.
After 1 kilometer, at the traffic circle, take the second exit.
A U.S. and Spanish naval base. So that's kind of how it started. I receive a blog, or I did and I do still receive a blog from Stephanie at Poppin' Smoke, which is about military campsites her blog tells you about ways to use your military benefits as far
Take
as
the second exit.
campsites and Space A, which is flying on the airplanes that have extra passenger seats. And so she had talked about Rota, Spain, and how beautiful it was, and she had pictures of it, and I fell in love. And I went to Rodney in my usual fashion and say, hey, what if we went to Rota, Spain?
Please follow the route for 4.3 kilometers.
And lived there for a couple of months. What do you think? And maybe since we're there, we could travel over to Italy, go to France. What do you think? And he gave me his usual response when I bring something crazy like that.
Yeah,
you said,
plan it out and make the numbers work.
if I can make the numbers work, he was on board.
Because we first kind of started, we were just going to come over to Rota for like a month. I think.
Yes.
It was really kind of the initial
I
spark.
started off small.
So, and it just kind of expanded from there. And then we thought, are we going to be paying for an Airbnb at Rota when we want to go someplace else, like, Barcelona? I mean, now we would know we would want to go to Pensacola, but
yes. But that kind of was the start of it. Was okay. We'll get an Airbnb in Rota, and we'll stay in the south of Spain for a month. And then it was, well, if we're over there, shouldn't we maybe go over to Italy? I mean, come on, once in a lifetime trip.
because the numbers
to Europe.
definitely don't work flying from the U.S. back and forth to Europe for a month and then coming back and then flying for another month and that kind of thing. Those numbers do not work.
Yes, our budget, semi-retired budget, does not allow for us to stay a month in Spain, fly home, have our house and everything, and then fly back for a month and then go home. And we couldn't afford that. So that's when I started looking at how can we stay longer and what's the easiest way to get around Europe. Because while I brought to him the idea of Spain, I really wanted to see more than just Spain. I wanted to see all over.
Italy was probably the next.
Yeah, I really wanted to see Italy and Ireland.
Yeah.
Those were my top two.
Yeah. Italy's kind of close.
Yeah.
Ireland, not so much.
So they were kind of spread out. So we kept thinking, how are we gonna do this?
Well, and we expanded the time too from a month to 3 months, and then we realized after the 3 months that we start running into
the Shengen zone.
Yeah, and the visa problem.
And that's how 3 months came about, was because when I learned that you could only stay for 3 months. Well, why come over here just for a month or a month and a half? Why not stay for 3 months? And then when it was, well, but Ireland doesn't count. That's out of the Schengen zone. So it was, so we can go in, out,
After
and that's
600
6
meters,
months.
Go straight ahead.
And that's 6 months. So why only stay for 6 months when you could come back in
meters,
for another
go
3
straight
months?
Ahead. Onto A-491.
So there was 9 months. And then when he added that he'd like to go to the Baltics, it was, okay, well, that's another out and another in. So that
Go
added
straight ahead.
another 6 months.
Yeah. And at this point, the numbers weren't working with
For
all
the
that flying
Airbnb,
back and forth,
After
and
1
the
kilometer, turn
Airbnbs,
slightly right.
getting a rental car, and everything else just was not.
It wasn't adding up.
Yeah, that was not going to
It
work.
wasn't going to work.
money-wise.
But I
So-
don't give up.
That's when we decided the motorhoming. Discovered the motorhoming
Yes,
around
we
Europe.
discovered the motorhoming. A lot of people rent a motorhome for 6 months or so and do it. And then there are those few who
Turn
do what
slightly
we're
right.
doing. And so we started looking at the shorter term and going through, and then it became longer and longer, and it kind of went to over a year, and we said, okay, how are we going to do this? And that's where the plan came. That's where it all started.
After
Yep.
700 meters,
Yep, and
go
that's where we
straight
got the
ahead.
plan to.
And it took
come over.
over a year to plan all this. I mean, we started with the idea of Rota over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when we first kind of got the idea of doing the motorhoming thing, I don't even think we knew
After
Faro
400 meters,
No,
and
we
Europe
didn't.
road trip existed at
onto
that
A-minus
point.
We didn't.
2075.
We had known about Andre and Lisa from
Yep.
watching them, but they kind of have roots in Italy, so
Yes, she has
wasn't
family
as
there.
wasn't as
Straight
hard
ahead.
for them. And then Kevin and Ruth, who were doing it at the time we were looking at doing it,
Please follow the route for 2.3 kilometers.
and that's kind of the route that we followed, was the Kevin and Ruth route at first, until we found Faro and his great team at Europe Road Trip.
Yes.
And he was one of the first ones to say, when we said we're looking, I think at that point we were looking at the 18 months.
Yeah, we were
See,
looking
at
at
least
about,
over a year. And
yeah,
he was the one
over a
saying,
year.
now you don't want to rent it, because after 3 or 4 months of rental, you might as well have bought it.
Yes.
So just because of the price difference, so.
And that's when we started talking with Haro and figuring out, okay, yeah, we really can. We could afford to buy a motorhome because the resale value on them is still good. And we'd always have a place to stay,
Yeah. Yeah.
no matter where we land.
Yeah, because I mean, there might be some places that you can get a Airbnb for a month for $1,000,
Oh, there's some you can get them for less than that. It's
But-
just where you want to stay.
but then there's other areas where it's much, much more.
Yes.
And so we're looking at the fact that, for 18 months, that's $18,000. Are we going to lose $18,000 on our motorhome
Exactly.
when we sell it in? And I don't think we're going to come close to that.
I don't think so
After
either.
I think
700
we're
meters,
going to
at
be
the
better
traffic
off with
circle,
our housing
take the second exit.
on wheels as
Yep.
it is. So
And
that's
we
the.
didn't have to rent a car, and we didn't have to, do
After
any of
400
that.
meters, at the traffic circle,
So
take
that's
second
the story
exit.
of why
Then
we're
go
going to
along
Rota,
A-2075.
and kind of the, I guess, would that be the seed that got planted?
It was where it all began.
Yep, where it all started. We mentioned a little earlier, going to Rota was kind of a side trip.
Yep.
So we ended up going on past where we just stayed Actually, pretty close to it.
Yeah, it was only about a 20 or 30 minute side trip, so it was worth it.
Yep, it was worth it. So we headed on north. We were heading toward the large city of Seville, or Sevilla, if you're wanting to say it in Spanish. And
Sevilla.
the plan was to take kind of their ring road or their beltway or whatever you want to call it around town.
Oh, that did not happen.
No, apparently the GPS thought otherwise. I guess because of traffic or something. So we got a nice scenic view.
And I was really happy that we did, because I got to see, I mean, even just driving by, you get a feel for a town and what's there. And they had a bunch of beautiful old Spanish style buildings and houses and things like that.
It did put us through the university area, so I think that's
did.
probably why it was.
Yeah.
And we could see tour buses that were for scenic tours. They were open.
Yeah, they had
double-decker buses.
They had double-decker buses. They had regular buses, and they had horse-drawn carriages.
We could have been in worse parts of town, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, but the buildings were just gorgeous.
And despite the fact that it meant traffic and sometimes confusing directions on which way to go, because there's 5 roads that split off from the same spot, I would still put it as a happy detour.
Oh yes, it was definitely a happy detour. I'm glad we went.
So then we continued on down the road. We made a stop for lunch, but not really much to talk about. It was a parking lot of
just a parking lot,
grocery store, and so then we made our way up to where we spent the night, and we just parked at a place that was near not only the soccer stadium, I think it was just the whole anything that they do outdoors.
Sports area,
yeah. And wasn't the best place in the world that we've ever stayed. I don't think it was the worst either. What would you rate it? I did, like I said, it's probably 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
I would like a 2.
Yeah,
the soccer practice went until about 10 o'clock, and that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It doesn't get dark until after 9:30, so as soon as it starts getting dark, then it's time that
the crowd thins
out. And it was neat that there were, we were parked and there's tractors going by, people on horses going by. Salsa did not like the horses.
No.
And the biggest problem was at about 8:40 in the morning.
Yep.
It was packed and really loud. We parked right by the school.
Yep.
Elementary school, no less.
So we got to hear the joyful noises of all the children going to school. And it seemed like recess must have been the first thing of the day, because they were outside on the other side of the wall.
Well, they have it's like nonstop recess, so classes coming out. And,
yep.
And normally I love hearing kids, especially little kids, speak Spanish. That's kind of how I learned to speak Spanish, was from little kids. They speak simple words. So I love hearing little kids, but when I'm trying to sleep, no. Yep. They were walking right by the camper, and anyway, it was not a great parking place.
We actually ended up leaving a little bit earlier than what we normally do for the day.
Yeah.
To hopefully avoid dismissal time.
We're kind of excited too.
And we're excited today because we're going into, what is this country, number 11?
12.
Well, 12 if if we consider Gibraltar.
Gibraltar counts.
Going into another country. So, but then we can't count the UK when we get there.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
It's a different country.
So one of them was a territory of another country.
Okay, yes.
But so we are headed to Portugal today. We were on our way to what we think was country 11 or 12. We're still asking for your input.
I say it's 12. Gibraltar is its own country. It's just under England.
Well, it's part of another country.
Yeah.
Yes, like a territory or
It's
whatever.
a territory.
Yep. So when we, right before we passed into Portugal, we stopped and got gas.
Yeah.
And we went on to Portugal just because we had heard that the fuel prices are better in Spain than Portugal, and they were.
Yes.
So
a little
we're
bit.
glad we filled up. And then going into Portugal, we went across this pretty cool kind of suspension bridge.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Neat little way to get in, and it was kind of our first instance of knowing that we would cross a lot of bridges in Portugal that are supposed to be streams or rivers underneath them, but there's no water underneath them. So they must be in their dry season or have a drought or something
I don't know.
going
It
on.
starts raining when we get there. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say the rain started shortly after we got there, but
No, we went on our first
So-
little adventure.
yeah, we went on our first. So we started out a little adventure going into a town, and that town was Faro,
Yep.
Portugal.
And here's interesting about Faro. If you know the song Bonnie Tyler, the song "Turn Around Bright Eyes," she owns a house in Faro, Portugal.
Yeah.
She lives there.
Total eclipse of the sun, or total eclipse
To
of
the
the heart.
heart.
Yes.
Total eclipse of the heart.
And unfortunately, the reason that we know that is because she was in the hospital there.
Yeah, she got sick and she was in the hospital.
Yeah, in very poor health. So we hope she recovers.
Absolutely.
But we went down to the tourism office,
Yes.
which is someplace that we haven't gone to a lot of tourism offices in these countries that we've gone to.
Nope.
But the reason that we did is because our plan through Portugal is to follow their highway into which they refer to as Portugal's Route 66.
Yep.
Because it goes all the way from one end to the other. Now we're going kind of backwards. We're going from south to north. So we stopped there because they have a little passport book that you get. And you can get stamps in it as you go along.
It's
in
kind of
different-
like the
different places.
passport book you can get at the U.S. national
Yeah,
parks.
for national parks. I think a lot of
Yes.
states do that for
Yes.
their state parks too now.
Yeah, it's
so
pretty
we got
cool.
one for North Carolina. We made our way from Faro to our first campground
Yep.
in Portugal. And this was a campground I think was open before, and apparently somebody from France, the camp
Bought it.
host,
Yes.
came down and reopened it and has been working on fixing it up and making it a little bit better.
Yeah, he didn't have the showers open,
No,
So
didn't have
there's no
showers or
showers.
bathrooms.
but he did have a pool table and ping pong and
Yep.
and all the other necessities.
Yeah, so he had some other extras. They had a pool. It wasn't open yet.
Wasn't
a little
open
lounge
yet.
area that
Yeah.
was there. Pitches were really nice and big, and
They were really big.
yeah, so it was a nice quiet stop. He really wanted us to stay more than one night, but we had other plans because we wanted to go to another campsite that was closer to something that we wanted to see. So the next morning we made our way to that one,
Yep.
and that one seemed like another one that was either building or rebuilding. It's a little rough in the camping pitches, but he had a new little building for the reception area, and was working on a building that's probably going to be like a kitchen area,
Yep.
kind of common
And-
area for
but
people.
they were very, very helpful.
Yes.
The showers, they were. It cost €1 coin for 4 minutes of hot water. You used 1 coin, I used 2.
Yeah.
I mean, no big deal.
Yep.
And the showers were adequate, clean.
And a lot of those areas, water is sparse.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to charge you, because they make sure that you don't just stand there and use a bunch of water and
Yeah.
and stuff. But for you, the big thing that was there was the schooling.
Oh yes, there was a school bus there. I love the idea of a schoolie, rebuilding a school bus into an RV.
Yeah.
For a lot of people live in them to
Yeah.
move around.
And that was a pretty popular
It was.
camp area, and I mean it was nice. wasn't very expensive, but
And that's because it was close to
Well,
the entertainment. That
yes,
we
to
did.
the Benagil cave
Yes.
that we wanted to go to. Now, this cave, it's on the coast, so you can only get to it by boat. And I had mentioned to the camp host that that's what we were there to see, and whether we could get a taxi to it or whether we could walk to it or however. It was about
She
3
set up the
kilometers
taxi.
away.
She set up the
Yes.
Uber, and it was flawless.
Yeah,
was
he
right
gave us
there.
a different company to go with for the boat tour.
Yeah.
That you actually got to see 10 caves
Yes.
instead of just 2 or 3,
And it was cheaper.
and it was half the cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we made up the cost in taking the taxi to the town because it was further away, but really with
was
the
worth
taxi and the tickets, it was what, 10 euros more
Yeah.
than we would have paid, and that's not even including the taxi if we would have went to the other tour.
It was so
we were
worth
still up on it. So we did that the next day. Went on the boat tour. Lucked out and had a great guide on the
Great
boat again.
guide
Great
and
guide.
captain. They worked well together.
Yep.
They were funny.
Threw some good jokes in there.
And there
that
was
you
a
could get
castle.
to. Yep, and the castle.
The only inhabited castle in all of Portugal. And they said it's owned by a very rich family, and when they're there, they fly the Portugal flag. When they're not there, they don't have the flag flying, and they weren't there.
Nope.
The flag wasn't up.
So after we got out into the ocean for a little bit,
Yep.
we saw a few beaches. Some of them you could get to from
Oh,
land.
it
Some
was
of them you can only get from
beautiful.
water. But yeah, they were all nice and obviously not crowded because they're so hard to get to.
Well, and it's not. The ocean is really cold right now.
Yeah. And I think one of the first places that we came to was what they called Smuggler's Cove.
Yes.
And that was because when you pull back into it, you're kind of sheltered from sight
Yep.
out on the open water.
But
So that's where, the pirates or whatever would go and could kind of hide a little bit.
yep.
So that was kind of our...
And it had an opening to the side rather than the top of the cave. A lot of the caves have an opening like an eye at the top.
Yep.
The Smuggler's Cove had one on the side, so people could come down and come into the cave and trade with the pirates.
Yep. So, and then I know we went on to another one that they called the Celebrity Cave.
Yes.
And that was more not because of the cave, but because of outside the cave.
Yes.
There was like a face.
A silhouette of a face.
Yeah, I think I got a good enough picture of it that you'll be able to see the...
They had an elephant too.
Yeah, there was an elephant in one of the caves. Hopefully we can find a spot find a photo to do that.
Yeah.
And then I know there was the one that we went into that had the eyes of God,
Yep.
because it had 2 holes in it when you got in there. So that's
And when
what
you
they
got
called that.
directly underneath it and looked up, it was perfectly blue sky, blue, beautiful.
Yep. And then we went on down. I know we passed a lighthouse up on the cliff face. I think there was one, wasn't there, a school up
Yes.
on a cliff face as
It
well
said
that
the
we
school
went around.
had the best view in the whole town.
Yep. And then of course you don't really end the tour, but the highlight of the tour at the far end of it is Benagil Cave that we went into. And what do you say that in the high season there's like 15 to 20 boats waiting
Yes.
to pull in there, and
Waiting
one or 2
your
at a
turn
time.
to go in there because you can only fit two in there, and a bunch of kayakers go in there. You're not allowed to get out and go onto the sand anymore because so many boats come in and so many kayakers come in that you just can't do it.
Yep. When we were done with all the caves, then it was just kind of a long stretch to get back to where we boarded the ship, back into the harbor area. And I thought it was kind of interesting because the guide, who was a young kid, he's probably in his 20s or something,
Yeah.
he went around the whole boat and just asked everybody where they were from, why did they come there, and then if they needed anything, if they were in the area and stayed in the area, wanted a good restaurant recommendation or something like that.
Yeah, they do fishing charters and they do sailing charters.
Yep.
So you could talk to them about that if you were staying in the area and wanted it. They were very good.
Yeah, they were a very good crew. That's part of the reason that we really enjoyed it. So so we did that boat tour, and we came back to the campsite and just kind of
chilled for the evening.
There wasn't a whole lot to do right around the campsite area, so we just kind of hung out, watched people come and go because there were several campers coming in and several leaving. And so the next morning, because we just stayed there 2 nights, we got up and we had seen a couple of grocery stores while we were going around in the cab ride. One of them caught our eye because it was called a Paulinia.
And if you've watched the other videos, you know
if you
why.
watched when we were in Albania, we actually stayed at Camp Paulinia twice. We toured the ruins the first time we were there. The second time we just went there because it had services. Before we came back
to where we
Albania. So we decided to go into that store, which kind of a double-edged sword.
Yes.
Very nice store, but you pay for it.
It had a lot of the
Medium curve right.
we didn't know it when we picked it, but it was right across the street from the English Great Britain school.
So United Kingdom school,
And they had a lot of the products that we'd seen in the Netherlands and in the United States, and familiar things
Hard curve right.
that we looked at and said, oh yes, and wow, their prices were really high, so we didn't get a lot of what we
a lot of our
wanted.
regular essential stuff, we just figured we'd wait until we got to another grocery store to get it. So we made that quick little stop,
Medium curve right.
and then on our way out of town we stopped at probably,
Hard curve left.
besides the castle in Germany, it's probably the most touristy little
sketchy touristy
place that we went to, and it's called Sand City.
Yes.
And it's an outdoor area of all kinds of sand sculptures.
Yes, like sand castles that you build at the beach, and the people who do the extreme ones, they come in there and they have them build them, and then they coat them with something that keeps them solid. So they obviously the rain comes and doesn't wash them away. But there are 1,000 of them?
I don't know how many there were. I mean, they covered because they were all kind of set up in like topics and subjects areas and sections. So you had all kinds of countries across the world, and then you had periods of time with them, because there was like an ancient Egypt exhibit. There was India, England,
sumo wrestlers from Japan.
Japan, and that one was really detailed. And then they had like movies, TV shows, and superheroes. So there was Spider-Man and Captain America, the Flintstones,
Tom and Jerry.
Used to be my personal favorite was The Simpsons on their couch. And they had like Elvis in front of the Hollywood sign. So there was just all kinds of them. It took us a while to kind of walk through and just kind of take it all in, but it was very much one of those kind of tourist trap kind of things. But it wasn't like it was overpriced or anything. It was well priced. It was fun to walk through. And we had a good time. Now, at the very end, Salsa and I toured a little bit more. While I
went, they had what was called a fish spa, a fish foot spa. And they had the little fish that, suck the calluses and stuff like that off your feet. I have very ticklish feet, let's just say that. I do go and get pedicures and stuff, and believe me, I need one. It's been 9 months. And so I went, and the guy started me off on a tank with really big fish. And I stuck my feet in there, and they just all swam and attacked my feet. and there's no way I couldn't do it. I screamed.
Now you screamed.
I screamed
missed
like a
it
little
because
girl.
I wasn't there to video it.
I screamed like a little girl. I couldn't do it. So he ended up putting me in the one with the smaller baby fish.
The beginner pool.
And I could tolerate that, and I got pictures and video.
Yeah.
It was nice. My feet were nice and smooth afterwards, so it works.
So that was the end of our Sand City adventure. And so we went back, and we were kind of headed back toward Faro, where we had been before, to basically kind of start what is our plan for going through Portugal, and that is the N2 highway, which is their highway. I think we've talked about it. That goes
just
from
like Route 66.
Yeah, it goes straight through. They counted from north to south, and we're going to be going from south to north, so we're kind of going backwards, but not really. But they call that their Route 66, or their mother road. So we started up on that road, and we didn't get too far from Faro, and we were kind of going up the mountains in that area, and it was a lot of turns, a lot of switchbacks and everything else. And we ran into a couple places of road construction where the road had kind of bubbled or washed away, but it just was just a short section for down to one lane, and there was hardly any other traffic. Now, we should have taken the cue that there was no cars coming from the other way as something, because we got up to a point and the entire road was blocked.
Yep.
No warning or anything else about it.
Not a way to turn, no place to turn around.
Well, not at least for another 50 kilometers behind us, so we had to back up again and get spun around, and then come back to the next town to kind of find a detour. But on the way,
we felt so bad. 2 other campers came barreling the other way, and we tried to wave at them.
Yeah, trying to give them the U-turn signal, but I'm pretty sure that they
after 600 meters,
they went, and they had to turn around too.
So we tried to wave them down, but I don't think it worked. We got back to the next town. We found a route that we could go around, so we could get back, and it basically spelled us right out, just right north of where the block was. So we didn't really end up missing a whole lot of that part of the N2 anyway. We made our way up to the town where we were going to stay that night, and had a really nice municipal spot.
So the municipal sites are free, and some of them have, where we can dump Cousin Eddie and fill up with water. This one had free electric. So that was really
and also
nice.
It had bathrooms and showers. Now, we didn't use them.
We didn't use them.
They looked, very utilitarian. Weren't, anything fancy or anything, but I'm sure they probably worked fine. So not only was it a decent municipal spot with just about everything you could think of, it was really good sized. Had lots of parking spots.
It rained while we were there, so we just kind of chilled for an extra day. But a lady came around blowing a little
bicycle horn.
After 400 meters, at the traffic circle,
it was a bakery.
Take the second exit.
It was a bakery.
IC13.
Yeah, we've run into that, but it's starting in Spain, and then it's kind of continued in Portugal.
That the bakery comes around, blows a little horn, and you go out, and they have a bunch of products. We bought a cinnamon honey bread, like sweet bread, for the morning, and oh my,
that was good. So that was the start of our adventure on the N2. We'll continue it with our next empty nest adventure.
TV. See you then.